3, back with you with another YouTube live. Hope y'all joining me on this live stream. You are the real MVP. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we appreciate that. Don't forget to hit the like button on the live stream for the algorithm. And we appreciate that for the algorithm. And also share this video, live video, with your friends and family to let them know that the People Chat 1983 goes live on a daily basis between 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time
From midnight
and 1 o'clock
tweets
West Coast.
to
That's 4
drinking.
o'clock p.m. East Coast Time, 1 o'clock West Coast. And don't forget to hit the notification bell on all so you won't miss any of my up and coming live streams and videos like this. And thank you for joining me on this live stream. Hope everybody doing well physically, mentally, and emotionally on this Thursday afternoon. As you can see, we are here on a Thursday. Hello, Thursday. We got less than 5 minutes away for 420. So hope everybody getting ready. Thank you for joining me on this live stream, Latif. You are the real MVP. Hope you are doing well physically, mentally, and emotionally on this day, except like a king last night. And getting ready for the 420 sesh. Because we are less than 5 minutes away for 420. Got 30 minutes away. And we already know what I got. Then we're going to pull up the rest of this Royal OG that we got here. And then we're going to take the 420 p.m. hit. And then we're going to discuss the topic at hand. So, let's see, make sure I got the needle. Make sure I got the needle so we're able. How much time do we got? You got 2 minutes away, guys. 2 minutes. Hope you're getting ready because that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm getting ready for the 4:20 p.m. sesh. Hope you are doing too. Help me getting your joints ready, your blunts, your bowls, your bungs ready. Help you getting your device ready, like your puff codes and your vape pens. All your type of devices. Get it ready. Get it ready. Get it ready. Because 2 minutes away for 4:20. It's 4:18 right now on the PM. 1:18 on the West Coast. 4:18 on the PM East Coast. 1:18 on the PM on the West Coast. So get ready right now because I got less than 2 minutes away. You can see, and we filling up my carts. So we could get a nice sex going on the 420. There you go. Nice and full. Go. Nice and full. We're going to put the top back on. Put this on the battery and we're going to begin the 420 sesh. Put this on the battery. We got 1 more minute until 420. Hope y'all slept like kings last night and doing well physically, mentally, and emotionally on this day. And hope everybody has gotten your drinks ready to stay hydrated during the sesh. Hope you are also got a backup one. Shout out to Like Being Dads with the high cast. Make sure you got everything ready. You got your blunts, your bowls, your bongs ready. Make sure you got your bowls packed, your blunts packed, your bong whippers packed, and your device charged up because it is now 4:20. You'll see what time it is. It is now 4:20, guys. Cheers, gang. Happy Thursday. Hope you was able to catch me doing the full 20 sets. If you haven't, make sure you have a notification bell on all so you'll miss any of my up and coming live streams on the 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, Moosey, for joining me on this live stream. Moosey! Thank you for joining me on this live stream. You're the real MVP. Hope you slept like a king last night and doing well physically, mentally, and emotionally this day. And see you, gang. Cheers to you, gang. Thank you for joining. There you go. Hold on. Woo! That's right, gang, gang. Hold on, guys. I was supposed to be doing this a long time ago, but there you go. Make sure that. Hold on a second. Cause I know I keep telling you guys that I will leave the link, and somehow I didn't leave the link. So I'm doing it right now. Couple seconds, guys. I'll be right with you. Just dropping off something in the comments with you. Just drop. Make sure your cop up on the Highcast merch. I'll make sure I leave it in the description. Make sure I leave it in the comments. There you go. This week you get the Highcast merch. So if you're looking for something to keep you cool, or for the ladies, if you got a girl, you need something to keep her cool during the summer. The link is in the comments, and I'm also going to put it in the yeah. Boom, there you go. And let's take another hit, and we're going to talk about the topic as you see in the title about Diddy deleting damn near his entire Instagram videos and posts. Cheers. Oh, can y'all see me? Cause we got all the smoke. So sure you're good. So you did you hear that Diddy had deleted all of his Instagram videos? Like there's not one video of his posts. None of his posts was there anymore. Not one video of Diddy posts. Even the apology video has been taken down by Diddy. So there's like no videos there. But yet he still has over billions and billions of followers there. But yet there's no videos. I'm like, what? Look. Let's go on to Diddy Instagram page. There you go. We have Diddy's Instagram page. Look. 0 posts. 0 posts. But yet he still has over 19.2 million followers. But yet he has 0 posts. Look, remember that apology video he put on there? All that video is gone. So now everybody, and I mean everybody, was talking about how Diddy was delete those videos and had absolutely no videos on his Instagram. But yet he still has millions and millions of followers. Take a look at this. Take a look at the people who has something to say about Diddy deleted all his videos from Instagram. Celebrities reacted to Diddy deleted Instagram posts.
He ain't got time to play with us.
Look at this.
He ain't got time. Yep. These are the post.
That's not it.
Some massive allegations might be coming soon, and son
mentorship as a prioritizing his interest over theirs.
And he is alleging that he has hours upon hours of recorded footage and pictorial evidence which has been included in this document to support his claims. And I have
Look at this.
Prioritizing his interest over theirs.
and he is alleging that he has hours upon hours of recorded footage and pictorial evidence which has been included in this document to support his claims. And I have to say these claims seem very credible.
Jay-Z, another powerful figure in the music industry, being of the artists he signed. On expanding his business empire has sometimes come at the expense of the artists who helped build his brand. Owens' allegations shed light on broader ethical concerns within the music industry. The practices she describes are not new, but have been part of the industry for decades. The power dynamics between established moguls and emerging artists often lead to situations where the latter feel powerless and exploited. Owens argues that this environment fosters a culture of mistreatment, where the promise of fame and success can be used to manipulate and control young talent. The reaction to Owens' expose has been mixed. Supporters.
There you go. It was
Combs
talking
has been
about.
hit with a number.
It came to the point where people from Law and Crime Network was talking about how Diddy deleted Instagram posts aimed federal traffic investigation.
I was fucked up.
I mean,
I'm not gonna show you the whole footage. I'll just show
Amid
you
his
like a
legal
clip.
trouble, Sean Diddy Combs has just
You can see the
deleted
rest
all of the content off
on
of
this
his
channel right
Instagram
here.
page, a platform he has been using to communicate to the world during this saga. Why the move? Well, we bring on former federal prosecutor who helped put away sex abuser R. Kelly, Nadia Shihata, to talk more about what the strategy might be here. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Did all of his posts off of Instagram, nothing for his almost 20 million followers to see. Now, why is that significant? I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah, what is that?
It's significant because he has used Instagram numerous times during the course of his legal saga to send out certain messages. So let me explain that. We know that beginning in November of 2023, Combs has been hit with a number of sexual assault lawsuits, and that there is reportedly a federal investigation into human trafficking being conducted. This is when, we remember, federal agents raided his homes in LA and Miami back in March. Now, we don't know
You got two
the
homes,
exact
man,
details
Miami
of this
and LA.
investigation, who they're looking at, but after speaking to a number of different experts in this and reading different reports, it would seem that Sean Diddy Combs is somehow a part of this. Okay. Now, as we discussed on a previous sidebar, there are reports that a grand jury is being assembled in this case out of New York. And even though Combs hasn't been criminally charged or arrested or even found liable for any of the allegations surrounding him,
Gee, that shouldn't seem to be the thing that there has been no arrest made. Gee, I wonder where we heard that before. It seems that we hearing that a lot lately. No arrest been made, but yet crime is still being committed, but yet no arrest been made. Under the leadership of Joe Biden, by the way.
Of sex trafficking, rape, illegal possession of drugs and weapons, episodes of extreme violence. Why do I say Instagram is important here? Because when Combs is getting hit with lawsuit after lawsuit and all this is happening, there have been a number of very interesting posts. So, back in December of 2023, so he's already been hit with a number of lawsuits, he posts this to Instagram, and he posts, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." Let's just keep that in mind for a second. Then in April, after the raids on his homes, he posted on Instagram the music video for his song Victory. And in that video, Combs is running from the police. And in the caption, it was written, "Bad boy for life," with the closed fist emoji. What he was trying to say and why he posted it then, not entirely clear. We don't know. We can make sort of assumptions about what he was trying to say. And by the way, during that post, he actually opened up his Instagram to comments again. It had been closed off after the raids. And then let's talk about what happened in May. So after the raids and facing all of these lawsuits, Combs seemingly posted on his Instagram the phrase, "Time tells truth." Again, we don't know what that was in reference to, but I think a fair argument could be it was made in response to everything that was going on with him. And of course, most recently, in a direct response to an allegation, I have to use quotations here, the reason I usually say allegation, but he posted his infamous apology video. This was in response to CNN publishing a video from 2016 of Combs purportedly savagely beating and dragging his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura in an elevator bank area at the LA Intercontinental Hotel. This was captured on CCTV footage. Absolutely, absolutely horrific. And as we mentioned on Sidebar, it was almost a play-by-play account visually of what was described in Ventura's lawsuit against Combs back in November of 2023 when she alleged she was attacked by Combs. And then 2 days later, Combs posted this apology on Instagram.
I was f***ed up.
Yeah.
I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility.
Hey, the people want to say that was AI. that was beating up on Cassie, but yet he said that was him.
For my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy.
It's like the whole world is sick. It's like the whole world has gone mad. God, who had? It's like who person has it going on the killing spirit like Diddy?
And grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
But now, Sean Combs has deleted all of his content off of his Instagram page.
Out of
Not just
nowhere.
the posts I mentioned, but everything. Everything. And he's had posts about his career. He's had posts about his family. He's had posts about Kim
posts.
Porter. And why did he do this? Assuming, of course, this wasn't just, I don't know, an accident. He hit the wrong button, or somebody that manages his account hit the wrong button. Why would he do this? For that, let me bring in
All
Nadia
these videos.
Shihada, one of the New York prosecutors on the R.
Look at all
Kelly
his
case, who's now a
videos.
criminal defense attorney. And remember, Kelly was convicted of child pornography, just the things that I mentioned, but he deleted.
Anytime you have video evidence of anything that corroborates what a witness is telling you, that's very powerful. And the investigation seems to relate to sex trafficking, seems to relate to use of force, fraud, or coercion. Certainly a beating of that type is evidence of the use of force.
Let me ask you this. We don't know the exact status of this investigation. We don't know what's going on. Do you think there's a scenario where his lawyer said, I want you to delete everything off Instagram for a potential jury, right? In the sense, we talked about it before, certain posts may seem disingenuous or contradict other ones. So he writes enough is enough on Instagram, denying everything, and then later on he essentially admits to the Cassandra Ventura video. He doesn't want potential jury members, maybe a grand jury, to see anything about that and do their own. They shouldn't be looking at it, but anyway, but not having them not looking at any.
And, some of that evidence from the social media posts, certainly potentially the apology video, and maybe other things, could well be used by prosecutors if there are charges and an eventual trial in this case.
So it is being reported, I mentioned, that a grand jury might be.
So we found out that he deleted those videos to avoid them using them as evidence. So that's why he deleted the videos. Diddy think he's. That's why that be on Diddy's ass. 6 day 1. Even Diddy had put it in his music videos of how him trying to outsmart the CIA, the FBI. Let me see. There you go. Remember this?
Oh man, you got some visitors though. Let's get up on that.
Diddy predicted his own future. Remember that? That music video? You remember that music video? When the FBI was looking for him? And then next thing you know, in 2024, his house got raided. From Miami to LA. Everybody got arrested, but Diddy, because Diddy wasn't even there. It's like, everybody's talking
Why do
about
people
how
still read
Diddy
books?
deleted his Instagram post. I found out with the guy named that called him out on taking off his post down. Diddy Breakfast Club. There we go. Steph, that's his name, Steph. That's his name. Look what this is what Steph had to say about Diddy deleting his Instagram post.
Even though the word entertainment isn't really applicable here, because
There you
the
go.
subject involves Sean P. Diddy Combs making news yet again, as far as I'm concerned, for all the wrong reasons. Now, we know what he made the news for over the last several weeks, because no matter how much of a fan of his work as I have been throughout the years, it's pretty impossible to come remotely close to okaying or offsetting the egregious acts that were caught on video involving him. But he's making news yet again in an indirect manner over the same incident as far as I'm concerned, and it's not foolish. Before I get into anything, let's remind our audience of what got Sean P. Diddy Combs in the hot water. I'm not talking about Homeland Security raiding his homes in Miami and Los Angeles. I'm not talking about accusations, because until further proof comes forward, they're nothing but accusations. I'm not talking about them even handcuffing his sons
His
and
son's
all
got
this other
handcuffed.
stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what we all saw on video. Take a look at this again.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy. Going to rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
What do you have to say about it? What's his response?
Make of that video what you will. You saw his actions. You saw how egregious they were. You saw his apology. Some people thought it was sincere. Some people thought it was bullshit. Doesn't really matter. What's done is done, and he's got to live with those actions for the rest of his life. Fortunate for him, that particular incident there, there's an expiration on that in terms of whether or not he could be prosecuted for that according to LA County, which is where it happened. But here's where it gets, I don't want to use the word tricky or whatever, but one would argue foolish on the part of Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Why is that, Steph?
My man, you deleted all the videos from your Instagram account, including that one I just showed.
See that everyone is videos.
If you had 1 million photos, If you had 1 million videos and you decided to delete 999,999,
He did all of his videos.
If you're sincere, you got nearly 20 million followers on Instagram. 20 million, nearly 20 million.
20 million.
And I know that you've been taking a lot of hits, and there's been shrapnels of criticism all over the place aimed in your direction. Not that it wasn't deserved, but that doesn't mean that there's but so much one human being could take. Although one could argue the X that you hit had to deal with a hell of a lot more than you had to deal with in terms of the criticism. But I digress. My only point for bringing up this subject on this particular day is because, Diddy, why'd you delete that video of the apology? To delete all of them, delete everything else. Not that. Don't you want people to know that you were contrite, that you were incredibly sorry, that you have profound regret for the egregious actions that you were caught on camera committing? By deleting the video, you throw all of that out the window. The possibility of the very few people who would ever believe that really having a reason to continue to believe you. Why would you delete? Who are your PR people? I mean, who are these people?
Now, who didn't work with need to be fired?
Where is the counsel? Where is the advice? Because had that been me, I'd have said never delete your account and never delete that video. Leave that up forever. Because that was you apologizing and owning up to your transgression.
I know. If they film, delete all those
video
videos
that you
like
know
that.
everybody else has. I know you say everybody else got it. Everybody got it because I already said it. I already put it out there. But you deleting it from your account. That wasn't smart.
That wasn't very smart.
That wasn't smart. Especially when most of the world got access to it anyway.
I know, right? Damn near millions of people already had screenshotted it, screen recorded it, and their reaction to it. So for him to now all of a sudden deleted those videos, that was pretty much was pointless. That is. Guys, tell me what you guys think about when you saw Diddy had to delete all his videos from his Instagram post. And let me know if you're one of those people that's still following Diddy, knowing that he had absolutely zero posts on his Instagram. Let me know, are you still one of those people that are following Diddy, knowing that he deleted all those videos? We want to hear from you. That's right, you, and you. But before we continue, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another hit of this Warrior OG. Hope everybody doing well. First, get mentioned and mentioned on this day. And remember, you are smart, beautiful, kind, and wise, and you're the most important thing on this earth that has lots to offer, and don't let anybody tell you any different. That's right, you, and you. Don't let anybody tell you any different, Moosey, you, Latif. Don't anybody tell you. We are special in our own way that will make us special and unique. And for that, let's chill the life. Hope y'all enjoy your summer and staying hydrated during the summer heat. Cheers, gang. Diddy should never do those videos. Now look even more suspicious. Cause damn man, everybody was upset of Diddy deleted those videos. So let's talk about next. Oh yeah, and then the next topic is: did you know that Tesla has another recall on their Tesla trucks for the fourth time in a row? Fourth time in a row, Tesla has been on a recall list. Now, come on, Elon Musk. First, you damn near fire your whole damn staff that created the Tesla trucks. But yeah, every time we turn around, there's a whole bunch of recalls on those trucks. And don't you need those staff to like fix it? So he pretty much put out there an unfinished product, because every time you turn around, there's a first there was a recall on the pedals. Now there's a recall of something else.
Tesla's recalling its futuristic new Cybertruck pickup for the fourth time, this time to fix trim pieces that can fly off and windshield wipers that can fail. The automaker says the front windshield wiper motor controller can stop working because it's getting too much electrical current. In the other recall, the trim piece installed with adhesive may not have been done properly at the factory. Tesla says it will notify owners in August and replace both parts for free.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by...
So it's like another recall on Tesla. This is exactly why, now I know this is exactly why people are starting to hate Tesla. Not just for the look, but for the poor taste, poor quality, the poor build quality of the Tesla trucks. Because this like the news says, there's been four recalls on Tesla already. 4 recalls.
Well, this is a pretty serious headline. So
This is what MKBHD had to say about the Tesla recall on the Tesla trucks. Once again, guys.
Tesla recalls all 4,000 Cybertrucks they've ever made due to a faulty accelerator pedal. But the story behind it is also kind of strange.
This was the pedal.
So, here, this is the accelerator pedal of the Tesla Cybertruck. Apparently there was an unapproved change to the adhesive holding the pedal to the pad that it's on. So some extra soap or something like that. So if you hit the pedal hard enough, it could become unstuck. Now I guess that's not the end of the world, but actually if you look up here in the footwell of the truck, this shelf's angle here is unfortunately the perfect angle that if the pedal does happen to get unstuck, and somebody actually showed this, it actually pins down the whole accelerator pedal at 100% throttle. So this goes from being a pretty annoying build quality issue to a pretty serious safety issue that's going to need to be fixed. But PSA, if you do actually have a Cybertruck, the brake pedal does override the accelerator, but also definitely take it to the service center because, well, this is a pretty serious headline. So Tesla recall...
That was the first recall.
My Tesla Cybertruck has 3 official recalls involving the wiper blade motor, the accelerator pedal, and this little plastic part right here just flying off as you're driving. And there's a 4th recall involving the hubcap, which I'm still waiting on a replacement. So the first recall is about the accelerator pedal. This is something we've all heard of by now. This little plastic cover can become dislodged and then get pressed up in the top carpet, resulting in a unintended acceleration, which obviously is not a good thing. You don't want your car to accelerate without your permission. Now, the second issue is with the wiper blade motor, where it simply seems to fail, resulting
The
in the
windshield
windshield
wipers.
wiper not working at all, which obviously that is a very dangerous situation if you're trying to drive in the rain. The third
See?
issue is this plastic part just flying off while you're driving, which
Damn.
that's not ideal. My Tesla Cybertruck has 3 official
Wow. And and yet y'all had the nerve, the absolute nerve, to call Elon Musk a genius. But yeah, everything that Elon Musk has touched has turned into a complete, absolutely failure. Not just from the Tesla trucks, but from also from X, because that turned out the reason why Twitter has become X is because of Elon Musk. Would cost him millions and millions of dollars just for him to change the name to X. So instead of him losing, gaining more money, he looks like he's losing more money than he is gaining money. And I don't think that's a smart move. Once again, this is like the 4th recall of the Tesla trucks. If I was the owner of the Tesla trucks, I would be pissed, because it's going to be the 4th time they had to send back your Tesla trucks, all because there was a recall on it. So how many times are you going to expect a recall on Tesla trucks? Since it's 4th recall so far already. 4. So I'm like, I thought, why did Elon Musk decided to send out an unfinished product if it's not even fully ready due to a whole bunch of recalls? I thought that things don't get sent out until everything is finalized, everything is they follow all the 60 precautions, from making sure that everything is nice and built right with the Tesla trucks, making sure there's nothing is unscrewed, untightened. But nope, they just send that joint right out, and here you go. Even though it took the people who own the Tesla trucks years and years to get it, due to them being on the list. But yet, and still, that's the Tesla trucks still end up with 4 recalls despite the wait. That's why I say, whoever called Elon Musk a genius need to be slapped, because this Tesla truck can't even survive most of, not all, but like some of truck duties. That's just crazy. What else should we talk about? Oh yeah, if you live on the East Coast area, there was a huge storm that just swept by my area in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, along with the whole tri-state area, New Jersey, New York, Delaware. First, it started off with at first it rained in Miami, in the Florida area, 2 days ago, and then last night it hit my area, and it to some people. And I heard from
deadly storms. Part of the area begin this afternoon with the cleanup from last night's strong and deadly storms. Part of the area now a mess. In New York City alone, there were
a man killed by a tree, others injured due to a powerful tri-state area storm.
The storm is to blame for the death of a man crushed by a massive falling tree. And good afternoon, I'm David Navarro.
And I'm Liz Cho. And take a look at the scene in East Orange where that father
That's
was
how powerful
killed
the storm
when
was
that
last
tree
night.
suddenly fell on
Yesterday.
him while he was tying down items in his yard during the storm. His family is now left devastated by his death.
Meanwhile, in Park Ridge, New Jersey, another family narrowly escaped a similar tragedy when a tree
fell down.
came crashing through their house. A woman and her dog just at home watching TV when the roof came crashing down on top of them.
Yeah, the storm left thousands without power as well, which had crews all over the area very busy today. One of the hardest hit areas was Morris County, New Jersey. Newscapter 7 was overhead.
The whole house was destroyed.
Crews worked to detangle power lines from fallen trees and Rockaway.
Downed trees also had an impact on the morning commute. B train subway service suspended for about 5 hours as crews worked to remove a downed tree from the tracks near Beverly Road in Brooklyn.
Despite that, Queens was actually the hardest hit of the 5 boroughs. This is what it looks like at 47th Avenue on 192nd Street in Auburndale. Crews have spent much of the day out there. 311 received 158 reports of downed trees across Queens.
So much to go over. We'll hear from Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg in just a moment. But we're going to begin this afternoon with New Jersey reporter Anthony Johnson live in Park Ridge with a look at the damage there. Anthony.
Yeah, David, right behind me, you see an absolutely amazing sight. Family was inside watching the baseball game last night. At the time, they heard the thunder, they heard the lightning outside, and they knew that the windstorm was really picking up, the rain was picking up, but then this tree came tumbling down right on top of the house, splitting the house in two, as you can see, and at this point in time, this house cannot be occupied. The family, though, says they're lucky to be alive.
Oh, tree came down on that house.
Lopez was trying to tie down items in his yard just as winds picked up and a huge tree came down from his neighbor's yard. Lopez was hit and went down underneath the massive trunk of the tree. His family spoke to our Tony Yates this morning. They are devastated.
It's bad. It's bad. My sister is bad. I don't know what happened. I don't know what was the next.
East Orange neighbors rushed to the scene to help, trying to do what they can to help Lopez.
We all ran out, and we found they were saying that he's under the tree. He's under the tree. So we all ran over there and tried to help.
30-year-old Lopez did not survive.
Damn.
The city of East Orange is trying to
Did
help
not
his
survive,
2-year-old
that's
child
crazy.
and wife who was expecting their second child.
Our health department is going to be a location, once we set everything up, where people could come and drop things off for the family. Because we know how important it is when you lose a loved one who has been the sole provider of a family.
As the Lopez family deals with tragedy, another family narrowly escaped disaster from a fallen tree which split a home in half like a knife through butter. The tree missed Rebecca by a foot. She heard a crack and jumped on her dog Scout to protect him as the house caved in.
The EMTs that saw the damage in the house and where they pulled me out from, that they said there's just no way that you're walking out of here with 2 staples in your head. Like, it's crazy.
Her husband Matt rushed into the room and his wife was buried under debris. He's relieved Rebecca survived such a scary blow from Mother Nature.
Once she got into the ambulance and they started to clean her up a little bit, you know what I mean? She was at least talking at that point. And, you know, the dogs were fine. She was fine. The house is what the house is.
Yeah, and you can see what the house is at this point, but unfortunately this storm last night did have deadly consequences over in East Orange, but once again the family that lives in this house here in Park Ridge narrowly escaped with their lives. That is the latest live from Park Ridge, New Jersey. Anthony Johnson, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And that's what the storm that took place last night in my area, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. tri-state area, New Jersey, New York, and it seemed like. That seemed like. My condolences to the man that lost his life by the tree, and others that got injured during the powerful storm in the tri-state area. My prayers go out to you and your family. And that's crazy. That was a powerful storm that happened last night. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, it is important that you have a backup power, so you will be safe and secure during the blackout, in case you guys lose power during this powerful storm. Because I've seen plenty of times where people have lost power during powerful storms, and not knowing when not knowing when the power is going to come back on. It's going to be minutes, hours, days. So to believe that stress is by buying yourself either a electric generator, portable generator, or a gas generator, or a propane generator. As long as that it's some type of generator to help you guys keep your electronics, and also your refrigerator, keeping your food refrigerated during the blackouts. You can see this is my battery generator, EcoFlow Weeper Pro. I could plug up a refrigerator, TV, keep my electronics charged up, and it's portable. And you can put this onto a solar panels and charge it up during the day. Use it at night. Shout out to EcoFlow Weeper Pro. That's so you can have backup power during the blackout. Because wow, that is crazy. That storm was so powerful, it damn near injured people and it unalived a man. So my condolences to the family there. Let's see what's happening in other news. How everybody doing? Well, Prince could mention much on this day. It's not like Kings and Queens last night. Before we continue, we're going to take another hit of this Royal OG. Hope y'all doing the same. Whatever it is, every year that you got, we're going to take another hit. Cheers, gang. What the hell? Oh my god. Stay hydrated, gang. Stay hydrated. Shout out to the Highcast. Shout out to the Highcast. So in other news, we have. Did you know that according to the CDC, research shows that construction workers are dying by suicide at an alarming rate?
Workers of not asking for help, of feeling like you.
All right, now to an alarming trend on the rise in the construction industry. New research showing that construction workers are dying by suicide at an alarming rate. While demand for construction workers continues to surge, the profession has one of the highest suicide rates. That's according to data from the CDC. In 2022, an estimated 6,000 construction workers died by suicide, an increase from the year before. Joining us now with more on this is NBC News senior policy reporter Shannon Pettypiece. Shannon, thanks for being here. So very troubling stuff here. Are there any indications about what's behind this, why this could be happening?
When I spoke to people in the industry, they said there's a number of factors. Construction is inherently a difficult job. It is physically difficult, the wear and tear on people's bodies, as well as injuries, working long extended periods outside in the sun. There's a lot of physical injuries, which can lead to things like, opioid prescriptions that can turn into addictions or other forms of self-medication. And then they said there's also just this culture of macho-ness among a lot of construction workers, of not asking for help, of feeling like you should be able to handle your problems, you should keep those at home, not wanting to share how they're feeling, not wanting to seek out and get help. And folks in the industry said that all those things combined can just lead to a really toxic mix that can lead people to taking their own life at a rate that is 75% higher among men in construction industry than it is for men in the general population, who already have a higher rate of suicide than women in the general population.
Wow, some startling numbers there for sure. And we're seeing these come as there is a boom in the construction industry and the shortage of workers that's also going on at the same time. How does that possibly factor into how they're feeling on the job?
All because of Joe Biden.
Well, people in the industry said they're really concerned about the pressures that are on workers right now. There have been billions in federal dollars for infrastructure projects, new electric vehicle manufacturing plants, these semiconductor chip plants. These are huge, large-scale projects, and the industry estimates they're about 500,000 workers short of where they need to be to meet their hiring goals. So that means added pressure on the current workforce. It means longer hours. It means people working double shifts, not taking any days off, and not only for weeks at a time, but months at a time or even years at a time. And that puts pressures on individuals emotionally, physically, and it's also causing a lot of them to have to travel for work, to be away from home and their family and their support networks, sometimes for over a year. And so it really has industry officials concerned that on top of all these other factors we talked about a moment ago, those are only being amplified and magnified by this demand on the workforce.
Wow, so many factors there, Shannon. So what steps are being taken within the industry to try to help this problem?
Well, there's been a lot of efforts over the past few years to raise awareness. One is getting workers to be aware that they are at an increased risk of suicide and that it is okay to seek help. They really have been trying to emphasize the 988 suicide crisis lifeline that people can call, putting this 988 number on stickers on work sites, posters, hard hats, getting awareness out there that there is someone you can call and reach out to for help if you find yourself in a crisis, but then trying to be more proactive, trying to have workplace talks, just the way they talk about physical safety on the job site, talking about mental health safety. Employers are putting in assistance programs that workers can use mental health services to hopefully start to get ahead of this problem before people reach this crisis point.
We certainly hope that they do get the help they need beforehand. Shannon Pettypiece, eye-opening stuff here. Thank you so much. And as Shannon just mentioned, you or anyone you know, if you're struggling, you can call or text the Suicide Crisis Lifeline at 988.
Thanks for watching. Stay.
Were you born between 1979 and 1989? If so, you can get $250.
There we are. In case anybody didn't know that they have already predicted the Great Depression returning, the return of the Great Depression in 2025. And everybody knows depression leads to that. And according to the CDC, it's been more of that with men than women. And in case you didn't know what I'm talking about when I said the return of the Great Depression in 2025 was predicted by them in 2024 last year. Here's the video.
We'll say, oh, we're leaving all this debt to our grandkids. The grandkids don't have to pay it. I mean, they can leave. People used to ask me, where do you stand on a wall? And the main reason I was against it is I said, if we build that wall, it can be used to keep the Americans in. There's no way out, until there's a violent revolution.
During periods of extreme economic uncertainty, like the one that we're living through right now, I really think it's incumbent upon all of us as individuals to face the
Great Depression by 2025
and develop a thesis for how to navigate that kind of
Great
period
Depression
well.
by 2025.
But most people
the
get
man
overwhelmed and they
who
shut
called
down. Do
the
not let that be you. The intelligent path forward is always a combination of information and action. To that end, I bring you Peter Schiff, the man who believes the economy is headed towards a cliff, but has a plan for how we get off the bus before the inevitable crash. Are we headed towards a recession that's going to be worse than 2008?
I think so. In fact, I think we're actually in recession, although by the time they...
Say that again? Are we what?
Are we headed towards a recession that's going to be worse than 2008?
I think so. In fact, I think we're actually in recession, although by the time they write the history books on this era, it may be considered a depression. I think that the numbers that we get from the government are not accurate by design. So I don't really think that the economy is growing in any real sense. I think that the way they compute the numbers, I think, is deceiving.
Damn.
I think that
the government deceiving us? Are you serious?
Their standard of living is declining.
Oh my.
I don't think the economy is really getting bigger. I think we're spending more and we're borrowing more and going deeper into debt. We're paying more for everything we buy. Right. And a lot of that consumption ends up feeding into the GDP. And so we get a bigger GDP number and we think, oh, that means the economy is growing. But I think it's all being distorted by the inflation and the debt. Meanwhile, individuals that are living in the economy are struggling. Their cost of living is going up. You have a record increase in the number of people holding multiple jobs, right? Not just two jobs, but 3 jobs or more. And they still can't make ends meet. You've got record credit card debt, which is now over $1 trillion, first time ever. And we almost have $2 trillion in student loan debt. I mean, that has just exploded. And all sorts of debt. If we really had a growing economy, people would be getting out of debt. That's what happens when you're doing well. You pay off your debt. You build up your savings. The savings rate has collapsed in the last couple of years. That's not a sign of economic strength. That's desperation. People are tapping into whatever savings they have left just to make ends meet.
I know, right? There's still your corrupt president of the United States. People don't even have anything saved up because of people find themselves spending more for the same products they will buy for years. And because of everything's going up, people find themselves paying more for less. People find themselves working more for less. And that's where the depression comes. People find themselves not be able to afford stuff, but yet they're working extra hard. Working extra shifts and still not able to afford anything.
You know, if you look at Joe Biden's popularity, he's as unpopular as any sitting president since Jimmy Carter.
Damn.
So, you know, that's quite a feat. But if you remember, when Jimmy Carter was president, things were pretty bad.
He said Joe Biden is the most unpopular president of all time. That says a lot.
Right? You had, you know, the misery index, high inflation, high interest rates, high unemployment. You have to go back to that time period to find an incumbent president this unpopular. So what does that tell you? Because normally you know, you vote your pocketbook. If the economy were really strong, voters wouldn't care if Biden was falling asleep at meetings or, you know, couldn't remember, you know, who he was married to or where he was giving his speech. If people were feeling good about themselves and their economy, they would credit Joe Biden.
Right.
The fact that he's so unpopular is more a function of how bad the economy is. And no matter how much he wants to pretend that it's doing well,
it's not.
The poll numbers display the opposite, and so does everything else with economic reality. I mean, we have record budget deficits. If times were good, the government would be running smaller deficits. They would be collecting more taxes. They wouldn't be spending as much on you know, government assistance. Our trade deficits are at record highs. If we had a booming economy, we'd be making more stuff. We'd be exporting that stuff, or we'd be importing less because we would just consume what we produced ourselves. But our economy is really shrinking, and that's why we're on life support. We're dependent on foreigners for all the goods that we can't produce, and we have to pay for it on credit because we don't have the real incomes or the savings to afford it.
So I think that
all because Joe Biden wants to fund 2 wars, therefore force everybody to cut their employees to budget cuts, and the employees that they do have now they're forced to work overtime because of how many employees was cut. All because of people decide to vote for Joe Biden due to
is going to be jarring for people because for a lot of them, things seem fine. In fact, one thing that I've heard people criticize you for is you've been saying for years now that we're going to get hyperinflation, but it hasn't come yet. And I think a lot of people are going to say depression. We're not in a depression yet, for sure. So the economy works in a certain way. There are physics to it. So what is it that you see that makes a recession or depression either happening now or inevitable? What do you see that they're missing?
Yeah, first of all, I don't think we're in a depression now as far as the economic conditions. I said that by the time the historians look back on this time period, this could be the beginning of that depression, because I think the depression is in our future, really not in our past. And the way we've been kind of holding back the tides of depression is through debt and inflation. And so we've been, you know, kicking the can down the road, but we're really sowing the seeds of the future depression that I believe the time period we're in now will just be lumped in with it, right? Not like it's, you know, this is the earlier stages of that prolonged period that is really going to coincide with, you know, having to come to terms with all the mistakes that we've made in the past. It's like the chickens coming home to roost because of bad monetary and fiscal policy that go back, you know, for decades. We're in a huge hole. And it isn't going to be easy to get out of it. And the time period where we're going to get out of it, that's, you know, it's going to be hard times, you know, and the government is in a position to make those times a lot harder. So, you know, that's a wild card as to how the government is going to react to this unfolding crisis and how much worse they might make it be. Now, as far as hyperinflation, yeah, I was talking about a hyperinflation scenario back in, you know, the early days of the 2008 financial crisis, based on the way the government reacted to that with quantitative easing. And I knew that the road that we were going down could lead to hyperinflation. Now, I always said that that was a worst case scenario. I never said, hey, it's for sure. But of course, you know, the media, everybody picks up on my warnings of hyperinflation. I still think that, you know, hasn't been taken off the table. And the odds of that are actually greater now than they were when I first started warning about it. But I always said that, look, that's the worst case scenario. You destroy your currency completely, where you're talking Weimar Republic, Zimbabwe. But what I did say was inevitable was very high inflation. And we've just started to experience that in recent years. And I don't think that's over. I mean, I think we're going to see higher inflation. Right now, the high watermark for year-over-year CPI was just over 9%. That's not going to cap this. We're going to go into the double digits. And the first digit might not be a 1. You know, that still wouldn't be hyperinflation, right? If we have 20% inflation, that's not hyperinflation. Right?
That's curl up in a fetal position and suck your thumb and cry yourself to sleep territory.
It's bad, but also if you compare what we have now, right? Because everybody wants to say, look, it's not that bad because look how much worse it was in the 70s where we had inflation 10, 11, 12% for several years. What people don't understand is that you're comparing apples to oranges, because the CPI that was in use in the 70s is not the same CPI that we use today.
Hold on one second, because we're gonna have to start teasing this apart for people, because you have so much knowledge.
See, I told you they have predicted the return of the Great Depression in 2025, and we are already in the middle of 2024. And what's been going on between the beginning of 2024 and now? That's right. Either we're dealing with a whole bunch of either people are dying from gun violence, knife stabbing, or they're unaliving themselves due to stress. And once again, all because of the leadership of Joe Biden, that all this is happening. And they said that the worst is yet to come.
Making a dire prediction about the market next year. He says 2024 is going to bring, and I'm quoting him now, the biggest crash of our lifetime. Economist John Lewinsky is here. What do you think of Dent's prediction?
I told you.
Well, I think it's a little bit over the top. It's a daring prediction.
I hope it is.
Okay, I hope so too. I don't see any sign of that happening right now. But you know, the longer
the biggest crash of our lifetime in 2024.
Eventually, we have to have some sort of slowdown or a mild recession to sort of like stop this rapid growth of consumer credit. We got to do something about those elevated prices in housing, the rents and whatnot.
But even as the Fed is reducing rates, and they say they're going to reduce it 3 times in 2024. I mean, isn't that going to forestall a recession? It might put it off even longer, but won't it forestall
I
it?
got bad news, because usually recessions appear after the Fed begins to cut rates, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't think the forthcoming rate cuts will necessarily stave off an economic downturn. That may be asking too much.
But when the rates come down, it becomes cheaper to borrow money. Companies can expand. Companies can use that cash in order to expand and hire more people. Isn't that the opposite of a recession?
Are they going to hire more people? Are they going to engage in more capital spending if spending overall of corporate revenues are coming in well under expectations? That's the trick. How much longer can the U.S. consumer continue to spend at a rate that seems to well outpace the rate at which their incomes are growing? And you know, you sent me something about the retirement plans.
Well, let me tell you specifically what we're going to talk about. Gen Xers say they're going to need over 1.1 million to retire, but most only expect to have about $660,000. That's a $451,000 difference, the largest wealth gap of any generation. So how do they make up for the lost time?
Cut back on spending and increase savings. That's all they could possibly do. And I don't know, when are they going to go ahead and make that type of move? It's beyond me, but it might well be that this consumer spending spree that's been around 2022, 2023 may disappear in 2024. Let me tell you, a year ago, I looked at something like restaurant sales. They were up by nearly 10% from a year ago, final quarter of 2022. So I said to myself, well, my goodness, by the final quarter of this year, restaurant sales will be lucky to grow by 5%. Guess what? they're still growing by nearly 10%.
Yeah.
So there was perhaps more excess cash out there lingering around because of the massive stimulus.
So final question, it all comes back to the election coming up in 2024. Is by November of 2024, by the time of the election, are we going to see a good economy? What people feel better about the economy then than they do now, or could it be worse?
I think it's going to be worse. I think this is going to be a very rough year politically. It's going to create a lot of uncertainty. I'm a corporation. I don't really know what the tax framework is going to look like. I don't know what the regulatory framework is going to look like. Are we still going to have all of these subsidies for renewable energy, for electric vehicles? Those could be gone. So I think the smart thing for managers, for corporate people to do is hold back on spending plans, hold back on staff, and get the election out of the way. And just by holding back, that's going to slow the economy down.
And you think consumers are going to have to slow down because they're running out of credit?
I would think so. And the sooner consumers pull back on spending, the milder the next recession will be. It seems as the longer they hold off on cutting back on spending, interest rates stay higher for longer. And when that downturn comes, it's going to hurt, but perhaps not as bad as Harry Dent thinks.
The Oracle, John Lonsky. Thank you very much,
Well,
John.
thank
Great
you, David.
to see you. Happy
Same
holidays.
You heard what he says? He says that it's going to get worse before or after the election. So, when it comes to the economy. So, is it really worth voting at this point? Is it still worth voting at this point? Because the whole point of voting for Trump is to reverse everything that Biden has done. But even Trump says that it's going to be damn near years and years and years to reverse everything that Joe Biden has put in place. Because like they said in the video, instead of things getting better after the election, things are going to get worse. And it's all because of Joe Biden and his policies. And this inflation, that caused inflation, that caused everything to go up for food, rent, even people losing their jobs, for budget cuts, school cuts, police cuts. Now I'm hearing that about the whole hiring freeze. They got a whole hiring freeze going on. People, it said, people are leaving certain areas, like California, and because they couldn't in New York, because they couldn't afford to live in those places anymore. Look at this. Look, people making videos about everyone is leaving California because they can't afford it anymore. This is the America we are living at, thanks to your President of the United States, Joe Biden. No one can even afford nothing anymore. What's up, Detroit? Thank you for joining me on this live stream. You are the real MVP. Hope you have slept like a king last night and doing well physically, mentally, and emotionally on this day. We are here on a Thursday. We're here to talk about the economy that is going downhill thanks to your corrupt President of the United States, Joe Biden. And where every city is suffering due to budget cuts, what means less police in your city, like Detroit, like Chicago, like LA, like New York, like Philly, like Jersey, which is the reason why those cities are filled with crimes. And the common theme is there hasn't been any arrest. The common theme is there hasn't been any arrest. Every time you turn on the news, it's somebody has been. And then don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is the president. I think not tonight, but I think coming soon is the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Because ever since Joe Biden became president of the United States, Now we got to deal with this. Now we got this border crisis that led so many migrants into the country that has so many criminal records. Now, which equals to more crimes happening in New York City, more crimes happening in LA, more crimes happening in Detroit, more crimes happening in Chicago because of the migrant crisis.
The time has come. Things will
NYPD inspector and Fox News contributor. He has years of experience working in counterterrorism. He ultimately ran all of the NYPD's intelligence cases. Paul, great to have you with us.
Thank you.
So when you watch this news conference and you hear about the men from Tajikistan, you hear about the ISIS affiliates who have sent 400 people across the border, if you were still doing counterintelligence in New York City, what would be concerning you?
All right, well, let's try to advance the story a little bit. First question I would have is, were these 8 Tajiks part of the 400 that you're talking about? Because as he tries to put an air gap between ISIS and the 400, and you can see how he's wordsmithing it, right?
Yes.
He's saying, well, you know, they're not necessarily ISIS-tied, etc. What people don't realize is that terrorist groups need money. There is a profit motive embedded in it. It's like the mafia. They have to make money, but they do it for their operations, not for the profit motive, right? So it's possible that ISIS is just doing some human trafficking here. But think about this now. We have 8 guys who were loose in this country, and here's the nuance. They are being held currently on immigration charges, not on terrorism charges. Now, they picked up something on a wire relative to bombs. I don't know if that's a FISA wire overseas or something, or if it was a domestic wire relative to something
up in
criminal.
California.
But somebody, it was 3 different field officers, 3 FBI field officers. They had to prematurely say, take them on what we got. Take them on immigration and get them in. We'll see if we can get into the phones. We'll see if we can do a debrief. We'll flip somebody. But that, right now, they don't have terrorism charges, which means they had to take it prematurely. That's an indicator of how much trouble they thought this was, because you don't want to do that, but it gets to be too hard to cover, and you can't risk it. And that also indicates to you the pressure that the federal government, who are doing their job, is under here. You know, we hit the FBI leadership here plenty. That's the people inside the Beltway. But I can tell you, the FBI agents and these field officers, I've done this stuff with them. They're up all hours of the night. Those guys don't make a lot of money. They're not making overtime. There are men and women up all hours chasing people around, monitoring wires, trying to prevent something from going boom. And ultimately, they had to pull the plug prematurely.
Well, we thank them for those efforts, and they work extraordinarily hard because they want to keep people safe. As you say, the motivation is not money. The motivation is not having another 9/11 or any similar incident here in the United States. This is Mike Morrell, the former CIA director, who wrote a piece on the red flags and blinking lights that he sees going on everywhere. Here's what he had to say about the feedback he got when he put that out there.
I ran into a lot of current intelligence officers and current policymakers after we published the article. The response was almost universal in, we're glad you wrote this. It's really important. I read that as maybe there's a lack of a sense of urgency here.
Okay, so he's speaking carefully, but what really jumps out at the end of that is that he is warning the administration there is a lack of a sense of urgency. And you heard Mayorkas say, oh, the safety and security of the American people is our top priority. That's what we're all about. Basically, you know, but you shouldn't be too concerned. We got it all under control.
Let's remember something about Mayorkas. He set the tone for his discourse with this nation very early, right? In 2021, he came out and swore to the factually untrue canard that Border Patrol was whipping Haitian migrants as they came over the nation, as the New York Post reported. Mayorkas knew at the time it wasn't true. If he thinks his own people are going to support him now, I know not everything about law enforcement, but I know enough to know when you've lost your agency. As far as the article goes, now full disclosure, it's two authors on that. One of them is Graham Allison. He was my professor up at Harvard. He's a brilliant guy. You know, you might have some issues with Morrell because he was the one who drove the 51 agents, right, who said this was a fake laptop, it was a Russian operation, etc. But that said, I can tell you, I had some experience with him. He knows what he's talking about. These are people who have spent their lives examining this stuff, and I actually interpret that article a little differently. I think that was a subtle shot across the bow to tell the Biden administration, the border. Wake up. This border thing is not working. They didn't say that in the article. I read the piece. But I think that's what really is going on there.
Yeah, and here's someone who said it more directly. This came out today from the Special Operations Association of America. They sent out an open letter. These are former SEALs, Green Berets, Rangers, who, as an association, want to make their concerns known based on their own history of all of the work that they do in this area. So they said the risk is compounded by developments in the Middle East, i.e. Hamas, Iran, their proxies, and the porous, unsecured southern border, through which we've seen numerous instances of individuals on terror watch lists and others from adversarial countries attempt to enter the United States. And those are the ones we know about because only they were detected. They only detected 665.
Yeah, two things real quick. First of all, there are a lot of soft assets potentially here if you're looking to do an outside-in attack because you have all of these kids that are doing the Gaza stuff on the campuses, etc. And whether they're witting or not, they could be an assist to you. But let's not remember where the rubber hits the road here. Look at all the crime. We're already getting hit. They're essentially bioweapons. They're sending us their worst of their worst coming into this country. Every day we wake up to a new Biden border monster. You know, I don't talk about it too much. I have a website, opsdesk.org, where we track all of the migrant crime. I have people working with me. We can't keep up. It's underway now. And to me, that's a form of terrorism.
Paul, thank you. What's the name of your
opsdesk.org, and we're tracking the migrant crime to the extent that you can.
And then what do you do with that information?
Hopefully people see it now.
Telling you, things are getting worse under the leadership of Joe Biden. It came to the point where people noticed the corruption that is going on with the Biden administration.
Throughout our extensive investigation and from the lips of credible witnesses, it is abundantly clear that the Biden family business is Joe Biden. Let me emphasize, there is no Biden family business except for Joe Biden's 40-plus year career in Washington, D.C. That has been the family business. As a member of the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability, we have followed the paper trail. We've conducted our investigation by the book. We have discovered damning evidence, and we continue to do so every day. Our investigation has led to some alarming and eye-opening findings, which point to the president's knowledge and involvement in illegal business transactions. For example, in 2018, James Biden, the president's brother, received $600,000 in a loan from AmeriCorps, a financially distressed, failing rural hospital operator. Bankruptcy court documents suggested that James Biden received these loans based upon representations that his last name, Biden, could open doors in the Middle East based on his political connections. Now, we all know James Biden doesn't have political connections. Joe Biden, his brother, has political connections. Specifically, AmeriCorps wired a $200,000 loan into the account of James and Sarah Biden.
Damn.
Here's what makes the evidence damning. On the same day, James Biden wrote a $200,000 check from the same account addressed to his brother, Joe Biden. And for the American people, the brother of James Biden is the president of the United States. Next example is an email obtained by the committee from a Hunter Biden associate, mentioning that 10% of the relevant joint venture that held by Hunter for the big guy, 10% of a relevant joint venture was held for the big guy. At this point in the committee's investigation, we've established that Joe Biden is the big guy. Through the web of transactions that purposefully tried to hide the big guy's involvement, let me stress again that Joe Biden is the Biden family business. Let me illustrate an example of the confusing web of transactions. A Chinese company sent $5 million to a joint venture between Hunter and an associate. That same day, the joint venture sent $400,000 to an entity that Hunter Biden controls alone. Less than a week later, Hunter Biden wired $150,000 from this entity to a company owned by James Biden and Sarah Biden, James Biden, the president's brother. Sarah Biden later withdrew $50,000 $50,000 from the same company. Less than a week later, Sarah wrote a personal check to Joe Biden, aka the big guy, aka the president of the United States, for $40,000. 10% of the $400,000 that was mentioned in the email by the associate to Hunter Biden. Another example is when a confidential human source overheard a Burisma executive claiming to have bribed then Vice President Joe Biden for $5 million. As I stated earlier, Joe Biden consistently says that he never discussed businesses with Hunter Biden's associate. This was a blatant lie by the commander-in-chief, and the American people deserve to know the truth. Joe Biden never thought that the Oversight Committee would get this far in its investigation. And additional damning evidence will soon be revealed to the American people. This leads me to my next point. The Foreign Agents Registration Act, or commonly known as FARA. To be clear, Hunter Biden has never, and I repeat, never registered as a foreign agent, despite his lucrative work being done on behalf of foreign interests and his many travels on Air Force Two. And that wasn't just because he missed his dad. Specifically, Hunter has been documented business transactions with a Chinese government-based energy company called CEFC. Interestingly enough, the same company, CEFC, is the same one that is affiliated with the company that sent $5 million to Hunter Biden. How is this not the definition of being and acting as a foreign agent? Paul Manafort was convicted for far less. The time is now to open up an impeachment investigation pertaining to the president's direct link to blatant corruption, pay-for-play tactics, and acting as a co-conspirator to the crimes committed by his family on behalf of Joe Biden himself. The committee will continue to do our due diligence. We will not be worried about the distractions from the Democrats and from the press. We will dig through the confusing web of Biden LLCs, which I will add, Mr. Speaker, the confusion of these companies and the confusion of these transactions were done on purpose to conceal this money from the American people, and I will also add to conceal the money from the Internal Revenue Service. Because, you know, Joe Biden likes to talk about everybody paying their fair share except him and except his son. They're not concerned about a fair share. We're going to continue to uncover all of this. And we're going to answer and uncover all of the information that is going to outline exactly why, in my opinion, representing the 19th District of Florida, why Joe Biden deserves to be impeached.
Wow. You heard that? Joe Biden is, they're trying to get Joe Biden impeached. And did you know that Joe Biden, they've been trying to get Joe Biden impeached for, ever since he got into office, they're trying to get Joe Biden impeached.
President Biden on Ukraine and also China. There's polling by the Associated Press that shows that almost 70% of Americans, including 40% of Democrats, believe that you acted either illegally or unethically in regards to your family's business interests. Can you explain to the Americans, amid this impeachment inquiry, why you interacted with so many of your son and brother's foreign business associates?
I'm not going to comment on that. I did not, and it's just a bunch of lies.
You didn't interact with many of their business associates?
I did not. There's lies.
And just walks off. Everything Joe Biden says is nothing but lies. Tell about some of those are lies. Look at the comment section. Folks, it said, Kabul lies can never remember what lies they ever told. Next one, guilty is written all over his face. The next one is he's turned even whiter when he asked that, then ran away like a child caught in a lie. No wonder our country is in the mess we're in. See? All because y'all decided to have a liar, a traitor in the White House named Joe Biden. And you're wondering why a truth has been saying for years that our world leaders and governments are criminals. And if we don't act now and remove these people from office, they're going to take away our rights and freedoms. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We barely have any freedom, rights at all, if not any. Because even the criminals have more rights than us law-abiding citizens. Thanks to your corrupt president of the United States, Joe Biden.
Who got the sauce?
I got the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
Human nature.
His first comments on the impeachment inquiry. What can you tell us about what we heard from the president?
Yeah, that's right, Craig. The president himself has gone to great pains to ignore the plans of House Republicans to impeach him. But last night he told a group of donors that it's something he is not focused on. And he also blamed Republicans for using impeachment as a way to avoid talking about the pending budget battle. He said, quote, "The best I can tell, they want to impeach me because they want to shut down the government." And while the president may not be focused on impeachment, his staff at the White House is. They've established a war room to combat the Republican charges, and House Democrats have also strategized ways to push back. Craig?
Ryan Noble Sports there in D.C. Ryan, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11.
That's because the same government is kissing your ass, Joe Biden. That's the reason why they want the government shut down, because everybody knows that they're kissing the ass of Joe Biden, from the rappers to the CIA, the FBI. They are kissing the ass of Joe Biden. And matter of fact,
watching.
There's a live hearing going on
to try to smear my name
right
and
now as we speak.
In an attempt to save his powerfully connected client and his father. I challenge Mr. Lowell to make those claims on national television so he can be held accountable for his
right
lies.
now, Joe Biden impeachment.
Prior to my successful business career, I was an officer for over 6 years in the United States Navy's elite Naval Nuclear Power Training Command as a decorated master training specialist. I later served as the commander's chief technology officer, where I held a huge security clearance from the Department of Energy and the NSA. When I left Nuclear Power Training Command, I was the #1 ranked direct input officer in the entire command. And then I jumped into the business world and public markets. While I have made a few contributions over the years to Democrats, such as Representative Ro Khanna, I don't see him, but I hope he shows up today.
That's how much they want Joe Biden impeached out of office.
I'm not a political person.
Even though there's election this year, they still want Joe Biden impeached.
My father, both of my grandfathers, and my brother, all of
due
whom
to
were
the corruption
sacrifice their lives for this great
of the
country.
Biden family.
My sister serves our military vets for 2 decades at the Veterans Administration. We've lived our life as a family in service to this great country. I hope the American people will pay close attention to this hearing. I also hope they will understand that some members of this committee will engage in absurd attacks and efforts to try to deflect attention from the facts. And I will present today by questioning my integrity and my patriotic duty. You may see me speak passionately at this hearing, but for good reason. Not only was I willing to die for this country, every single male member of my immediate family was willing to die for this country. I want to be crystal clear. From my direct personal experience and what I've subsequently come to learn, it is clear to me that Joe Biden was the brand being sold by the Biden family. His family's foreign influence peddling operation from China to Ukraine and elsewhere sold out to foreign actors who are seeking to gain influence and access to Joe Biden and the United States government. Joe Biden was more than a participant in and a beneficiary of his family's business. He was an active, aware enabler who met with business associates such as myself to further the business despise being buffered by a complex scheme to maintain plausible deniability.
Wow.
I ask this big question. If there's no evidence of corruption here today,
Corruption.
if Joe's conduct and the conduct of his family were fully legal and proper, then why are they so dishonest about it?
Wow.
Not just slight misrepresentations of fact, but deep untruths about
So
the
why you were
entire
dishonest
corrupt
about it?
enterprise.
If there was no corruption.
Hunter Biden gave his transcribed interview on February 28th and lied throughout his testimony. Here's just one egregious example of Hunter's perjury. He lied to the committee on important details concerning his money demands and threats to CFC in text messages on July 30th and 31st, 2017. He leveraged his father's presence next
Once
to him.
again, Joe Biden showing his lying ways.
Strong on CFC to paying Hunter immediately. Jim Biden also lied extensively throughout his transcribed interview on February 21st and perjured himself. An example of that, on page 100 of his transcript, Jim is asked specifically, do you recall having a meeting with Hunter Biden, Tony Bobulinski, and Joe Biden? Jim's response, absolutely not.
Yes,
The
absolutely
committee
not.
was so shocked by his perjury that they asked him the same question multiple times. Each time he denied meeting with me and Joe Biden. After the committee showed him text messages confirming that I met with Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and Jim Biden at the Beverly Hilton in May 2017, Jim Biden, with a former U.S. attorney lawyer sitting next to him, still denied that meeting took place. Hunter Biden, in his own transcribed interview, confirmed
He's still
that
denying.
that meeting took place. Hunter confirmed his uncle perjured himself in front of this committee. I'm simply here to tell the truth to the American people, and I hope each and every one of you, congressmen and women, give me the opportunity to do that instead of focusing on Russia or smearing my family's name or focusing on facts that are irrelevant today.
Wow.
I yield back.
Thank you,
This is-
Mr. Chairman.
this is
parliamentary
live too,
input.
ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen.
just 2 points. One is I
A
just
live
Mr. Bobulinski went over
Biden
15 seconds. I hope the same
impeachment.
courtesy will be
We will
extended.
give Mr. Parnas equal time.
Thank you. And secondly,
Once again,
I see that we now have a witness appearing
Joe
remotely,
Biden's
and I
lies
thought
has
that
been
witnesses were
exposed.
required to appear in person under the rules adopted by the majority at the beginning of the Congress.
So if you want to check out
and
the rest of
do we
the
have a new
live,
practice with respect to that rule? Because I know that members on our side were denied the ability to participate in hearings that were conducted in Florida.
happening right now as we
Mississippi,
speak.
Alabama. We wanted to participate.
that's how much they
by
want Joe
Zoom. So I
Biden
hope
impeached from office. That there have been a live impeachment going on as we speak, exposing all the lies that been told by Joe Biden and all the cover-up that she be doing with his family, the Biden family. But yet, he says that injury is a bunch of lies. Y'all remember? And then, not to mention, him be having his senior citizen moment where he just be sitting there and then he just be like caught in a complete stare like this. He was caught doing that. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, bye. I know it was copyright music. Look at this. Viral moment, Byron appears frozen doing the White House concert. He's just standing there frozen. Look at him just standing there. Everybody is dancing while he's just standing there laughing with a smile on his face. Why is Joe Biden just standing like that? Look at that. Look how long he was staring at something. Joe Biden would have been won this. Joe Biden would have been won this senior citizen moment and went viral over it. But so that's why I was like, I wonder what the debate's gonna look like between Trump and Biden. That's coming up. Will he find himself going to a frozen state like he did at that party? Will he find himself stuttering during the live debate, or will he find himself lying and get caught in the lie like he has always been throughout his entire politician career, including when he lied about him being arrested? But yet he's still president of the United States.
Times now. You said that during a visit to South Africa to visit Nelson Mandela. Well, let's take a look at the video. I do want to ask you about one thing that you've said repeatedly on the trail. I think it's 3 times now. You said that during a visit to South Africa to visit Nelson Mandela, which I know was a very memorable visit for you, that you were arrested when you were there. Your campaign has come out since and said, no, you were separated from other people at the airport, but you did say arrest 3 times. Why?
Yeah, why you said that?
Well, what I meant to say was I got off that. Look,
You said what I meant to say was, oh, come on, man.
Strongly opposed to apartheid. I was one of the leaders. If you doubt it, go on JoeBiden.com and look at the exchange between George Shultz and me in the Foreign Relations Committee. And here's the deal. I was with a black delegation, the CDC, the Congressional Black Caucus. They had me get off a plane. The Afrikaners got on in their short pants and their guns, led me off first, and moved me in a direction totally different. I turned around and everybody, all the entire black delegation was going another way. I said, I'm not going to go in that door that says white only. I'm going with them. They said, you're not. You can't move. You can't go with them. And they kept me there until finally I decided it was clear I wasn't going to move. And so what they finally did, they said, okay, they're not going to make the congressional delegation go through the black door. They're not going to make me go through the white door. They took us, if my memory serves me, through a baggage claim area up to a restaurant, and they cleared out a restaurant. I felt strongly about apartheid, one of the reasons we were there. And long after this, when Nelson Mandela was freed and came to the United States, he came to my office. He was one of the most incredible men I ever met. He sat down in my office, thanked me for trying to do all the work I did on apartheid.
I truly don't get this. I don't.
Oh, my
You
God.
lied about being arrested. No. I was against apartheid. But we're not arguing about that, Joe. We're arguing about the arrest claims.
No,
and
right.
there are 2 possibilities, and both are conceivable. Either Biden's memory is gone, which is a concern that's been raised many, many times.
Due to old age, by the way, he's like damn near 90 years old.
Or Biden was deliberately lying when he claimed to be arrested in South Africa, thinking, maybe it won't be fact-checked. And that's also very, very bad. Is it believable?
But yeah, he's your president of the United States. And yet, you wonder why a whole bunch of wars is breaking loose, and you wonder why he is the most unpopular president of the United States. Because Joe Biden can't be trusted. He's been told lies after lies after lies. No one can even believe anything that this man has said because dude has a track record of lies. after lies after lies. One of them is him lied about him being arrested. So that's why I was like, this is going to be very interesting with the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, knowing that he has a history of lies that he has been told in front of the live audience and got caught in it. So this is why this debate is going to be very interesting when it happens between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Because according to Fox News, Joe Biden has been lying for decades. According to Fox News.
All right, Biden's lying about his house fire got us all thinking about the other things he's been lying to us about. Now, this is an ongoing problem with him. You can't say it's because he's old, because he's been doing this literally for decades. So let's get back into the time machine. Let's go back to 1987. Then Senator Joe Biden, he was 44. No signs of dementia, senility then. And for some reason, bragging about how smart he was.
Focus, damn it.
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class, and I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours.
Okay. Here are the facts. He got a half scholarship and not a full one, and it was based on financial need, not in his great intellect. He also graduated 76th in a class of 85, not in the top half. All right, the next lie.
Bill Biden has been lying for decades.
30 years ago, Nelson Mandela walked out of prison and entered into discussions about apartheid.
This is the part where he got arrested about.
Meeting him. I had the great honor of being arrested with our UN ambassador on the streets of Soweto trying to get to see him on Robbins Island.
It's Soweto, wasn't it? Anyway, the Washington Post actually gave Biden 4 Pinocchios on that one and said there's no evidence to support it. All right, there's another arrest story, though. This time, while he was protesting for civil rights.
Because I'm so damn old, I was there as well. Seems like yesterday, the first time I got arrested. Anyway.
All right, the New York Times said there is no evidence that he was ever arrested during a civil rights protest.
You lied about that, too?
That has to be it, right? No, there's more. Biden claimed he watched the Pittsburgh Bridge collapse. And with his own eyes.
Oh, my God, another lie.
Pittsburgh is a city of bridges, more bridges in Pittsburgh than any other city in America. I watched that bridge collapse. I got there and saw it collapse.
Didn't happen unless he has owl-like eyesight, because from the pool reports that day, the president had been told of the bridge collapse in Pittsburgh.
He was told about this.
Now, I could keep this going all night.
The right lies.
Okay, one more.
I used to drive an 18-wheeler, man.
Yeah. Oh, I
used to drive an 18-wheeler.
I got to. I used to drive a tractor trailer.
Awesome.
And so I know a little bit about driving big trucks.
No, you didn't.
Now, the White House tried really, really hard to prove that one to be correct, but it turns out the president rode once in an 18-wheeler. So the lies keep coming.
Oh, wow.
And the left keeps allowing them to come unchecked. So I think all of us need to ask ourselves, if he's willing to lie about something as silly as driving an 18-wheeler, what else is he lying to us about?
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Ooh.
Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page.
You heard that? She said if he willing to lie about simple stuff, what else can he be lying about? And y'all wonder why people are calling him the traitor of the United States, and why people feel unsafe, people feel unsafe, unbelievable in this country. People are calling Joe Biden, saying F Joe Biden in football games and stadiums. It's because of all told by Joe Biden. That's why I was like, how he was able to become president of the United States, knowing that he has history of lies. How do people feel confident in voting for Joe Biden, knowing that he has history of lies being told by Joe Biden? That's why I was like, how he able to get outvoted? How do you ever get voted into office over Trump? Because you can't say that because Trump is racist, and Biden has a history of racism. Racism. Before we go, I'm gonna show you the last footage, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. But this is Joe Biden racist history. Come on now. Come on, go up. Come on, start.
Involved in civil rights my whole career. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
Joe Biden racist history.
The world is different. There's too much unfinished business for us to just look backwards. We have to look to the future.
I know, Joe. We know Joe. But most importantly, Joe knows us.
That's right.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
Oh my
and
God.
Kids jumping on my lap.
You heard that?
Even call centers, which rushed overseas in the hundreds of thousands. How many times you get the call? I'd like to talk to you about your credit card. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
What?
They're going to put you all back in chains.
In my opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now. The Democratic Party is diverse, and it should be reflected as so in our leadership.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Why does this happen? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this because Chuck, I'm not going to do this because let me just be really clear. Vice President Biden absolutely has a respect level for all people around him, for voters across this country, young people, older voters, voters of color, black people, Latino voters, indigenous, Asian American, Pacific Islander. So I'm not going to even traffic in any hypothetical conversation about if he is sensitive enough. In my opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now.
Oh my God, these people are
figuring out
sickening,
whether
man.
you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
I think Joe Biden might be suffering from that same white entitlement and privilege and ego, where he's just that old school white male who feels like, hey, man, they need me, I don't need them, or I got them already.
Joe Biden is under fire this evening on comments he made about working alongside segregationist senators in the past. Biden recalling his early Senate career, bringing up
Joe
two
Biden had racist
segregationist
history.
senators, Herman Talmadge and James Eastland, who called African Americans an inferior race. I was in a caucus with James O. Eastland, Biden said. He never called me boy. He always called me son. At least there was some civility. We got things done. We didn't agree on much of anything. We got things done.
I think the two-party system, although my Democratic colleagues don't like me saying this, I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black in the South. Other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind.
It's that old school white male.
Remember, everything they do is on camera, and it's on the internet as document, like this. Joe Biden racist history.
They're gonna put you all back in chains.
Wow.
30 seconds or less. What kind of a chance would a northeastern liberal like Joe Biden stand in the South if you were running in Democratic primaries against Southerners like Mark Warner and John Edwards?
Better than anybody else. You don't know my state. My state was a slave state. My state is a border state. My state is the 8th largest black population in the country. My state is anything from a northeast liberal state.
It's that old school white male.
Choosing Joe to be my vice president was one of the best decisions I ever made.
The first sort of mainstream African American
Right.
who was articulate
The worst decision ever made, Obama.
and clean and nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
My son is Attorney General a year in Iraq, came back, and that's one of the things that he finds was most in need. When he was over there in Iraq for a year, people would come to him and talk about what was happening at home in terms of foreclosures, in terms of bad loans that were these Shylocks who took advantage of these women and men.
Back from Mumbai to go meet with President Xi in China. I stopped in Singapore to meet with a guy named Lee Kuan Yew, who most foreign policy experts around the world say is the wisest man in the Orient.
No.
Not a racist bone in my body. But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Oh, God.
So let me get
It was like last week. It was like 4 years ago he said that. I wonder, do Biden feel the same way about 4 years later? If you vote for Trump, if you're black, if you don't vote for Biden, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black. I wonder do Biden still feel the same way 4 years later? And this is exactly why, another reason why people are going towards Trump more than Joe Biden, more than ever before, is because they realize how much not only they'll realize how much of a corruption and how much he is sending this country straight to hell in the handbasket, but he is also the reason why racism still exists and why there are separate rules between colored people and whites. It's because of who is in office. Joe racist Biden. You hear what it says? If you don't vote for Trump,
so let me get this
black.
straight.
President Xi in China. I stopped in Singapore to meet with a guy named Lee Kuan Yew, who most foreign policy experts around the world say is the wisest man in the Orient. I'm not a racist bone in my body. But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
So let me.
And Trump wondering, and Biden wondering why he's the least favorite to win the election this year. Alright guys, I'm about to let you go. And y'all enjoy your rest of your Thursday. Thank y'all for joining me on this live stream. Y'all the real MVP. And don't forget to hit the like button on the live stream if you didn't so. And for the other video, I really appreciate that. And for those who have leave the like button, y'all the real MVP. I really appreciate that. Your likes and your comments and shares and your views is appreciated. It do not be taken for granted. And don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit this the subscribe button for more live streams and videos like this. And don't forget to hit the notification bell and hit it on all so you will miss any of my up and coming live streams videos like this. It's People Tech Nuts 83, and y'all have a blessed Thursday. Y'all have a blessed Thursday. Y'all take care. Peace. Deuces. Two blinkers. You have a blessed day.